Hi, I'm Val from Quilty Pleasures, and it happens to be 1 week from Halloween tonight, so we thought we'd do a little Halloween-themed demo for you. We're going to make Frankenbatting. Everybody's got these weird pieces of batting left over from other projects. Now this is just a small one. You probably wouldn't worry about this one too much, but sometimes we have great big long strips that were trimmed off the edges of a quilt or from the ends. What do you do with those? They're too big to throw out. They're big enough to use, but not necessarily for the project you're working on. They cost money, so you don't want to just ignore them. And they take up space when they're sitting in your sewing room not doing anything. So I'm going to show you an easy way to take those pieces of batting and put them together to make your Frankenbatting so that it's actually usable for other projects. So the products I'm going to use today, this one is Marty Michel's fusible tape. It's a non-woven product, and it's 2 inches wide or so. And this one is from Pellon. It's the same kind of thing, only it's a knit. It's got a little bit of stretch to it. Both work exactly the same way, so it's just a matter of preference. You can also use them to hem your skirt in an emergency. So for the demo, I've got 2 pieces of batting here that don't match, and I want to put them together. Now I could sew them, but that takes work and I'm not going to do it. So what I'm doing is I need to make a straight edge because I don't want a lump where the battings meet. I want it to be nice and flat. So I'm overlapping them just a touch on these raw edges, and I can see underneath, so I know what's going on. And then I'm just going to put a ruler on top here in the middle of this, and I will cut, and I'll take off this strip from here and this strip from here, and those two will line up perfectly. Now I'm going to move over to my pressing surface. And just a word of caution, I have got this wool pressing mat on a cutting table here, but we've put stuff underneath it to protect the cutting mat, because if you try to iron on your cutting mat, it's going to warp and be horrible and you won't be able to use it anymore. So don't do this at home, boys and girls. So I'm just going to cut a piece of tape the length of my batting. I've butted my edges up so that they're nice and tight but not overlapping, no lumps. Center the tape on the join. Whoops. Put it back. There we go. And now I'm just going to press. And I do it really lightly just the first time, just to kind of get it started, because I don't want it shifting as I go along. So now I'm just going to give it a little bit more heat. And I'm not ironing it or pressing it so much, I'm just letting the glue melt so that it'll hold it together. And now I'm going to let it cool for a few seconds. And there's my batting. It's all put together. Nice and flexible. Very soft. It doesn't affect the hand of the batting at all. Doesn't add any weight, doesn't add any stiffness, and you can use all those scraps that have been hanging around. So there's your Frankenbat. Now there's another thing that I just wanted to mention. Sometimes you have tiny little pieces that don't really lend themselves to putting together if they're not really big. If you've got 2.5 inch strips, save them and make yourself a pillow. So I'm just going to get 1 inch. And then, yeah, so if you have those little strips, you can use it to make this wonderful pillow. It also makes placemats or hot pads or drink coasters or whatever you can think of, really. And it uses 2.5 inch strips of fabric and 2 1/4 inch strips of batting, and it's fabulous. Just a great little use it up kind of project. So when it's too little for the batting seam tape, you can still use it for this. So I hope that gives you some ideas for your leftover batting and clears out your sewing room a little bit and makes you feel good. Happy Halloween!